This is the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less. Ever wish you could re-listen to your favorite interview or segment? Do you enjoy hearing older shows for the first time in years? Then the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less is just what you need. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less. I am your host, Jon Solberg, and I am happy to be taking you back today to May 29th, 2012. It is a doubleheader with what I am calling the longest running recurring guest in BBQ Central history, Dr. Barbecue himself, Ray Lampe. Let's jump right into Greg and Dr. Barbecue's conversation from May 29, 2012.
Yeah, I love the AC/DC.
Of course, Highway to Hell, which is, I think, we always seem to be maybe heading down that road when you're on the show for some reason.
I keep hearing about how I'm mellowing, though. It concerns me, you know? I might have to crank it up a little.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit tonight about this little beauty right here. I'm going to go ahead and shoot the product cam. There it is, Slow Fire. It's the Beginner's Guide to Barbecue by you, Dr. Barbecue Ray Lampe. And I guess what I found kind of interesting or unique, I'm always interested to see who's writing forwards for whose books. I think you accidentally missed me writing your forward, but you got somebody else that is probably a little bit better and more adept at this in Famous Dave. Why did you pick Famous Dave to write the forward? Because I kind of have a theory that within barbecue circles, he might not be as appreciated as he should be.
Yeah, you're right. I had met Famous Dave via the internet, and we chatted a little bit, and he's actually from Chicago, and so we had been friends on the internet. And last year I went to the National Barbecue Association conference in South Carolina, Greenville or somewhere over there, and met him personally and spent some time talking to him and stuff. And he's the real deal, man. This guy, he's a barbecue man, through and through. I thought he was kind of a corporate shill, and I guess you get that impression of people if you don't know him. And I spent a little time with him and found out he was definitely not, and he's just a really good guy. And it was shortly after that I was needing somebody to do that, and I thought I'm going to take advantage of this because Famous Dave is the man. He's a really accomplished guy in many ways. I mean, he's a Harvard grad. Barbecue man and Harvard grad. That's not two things you say in the same sentence very often.
No, typically not. And I guess maybe the only thing good that came out of whatever that debauchery TV show was on the Food Network, like Up in Smoke or Best in Smoke, was the fact that you got to actually see Dave cook in a competition style setting, not something that we would normally be accustomed to, be it an FBA or a KCBS or an IBCA type event. However, it was on television for everybody to see, and it was a challenge of sorts, plus it was culinary, and he did pretty well on that show.
Yeah, he got hosed, though, basically. He fucked up his leg bad. He's still having trouble with his leg from that show. He got hurt bad there. And besides, even if he didn't have a bad leg, he's an old fat guy. He's the one who's going to outrun all them guys to the truck. That was stupid.
Yeah.
I felt bad for him there. I was hoping I hope they wouldn't do that to me on any show.
All right, so a good forward written to you by Famous Dave. As far as what we might be able to expect from the book, as far as, who it's geared towards and how it might differ from some of the other books that Dr. Barbecue has written already.
Well, it was actually Bill LeBlanc is the editor. Bill's a legendary cookbook editor for Art of Chronicle Books, and it was his idea. He said, we see all these books, barbecue books, and the word he used was hero books. And they're all written from a point of view of I'm the god of all barbecue, and this is how you do it, and you buy a $10,000 smoker, and you be like me, and you can win the championship of the world, too. Well, that's all good and well, but my God, how many of those books are we going to write? I've written a bunch of them, and so has everybody else now. And he said, let's write one that's a little more approachable for the average guy, because we believe there's a lot of people that really would like to get into barbecue without that sort of commitment and that sort of intimidation. And I thought it was a really good idea. And frankly, I've been doing it for so long. I mean, I think I was capable of writing it. So we really wrote it. It's called The Beginner's Guide to Barbecue. And that's really how I meant it to be. And there's no grilling. There's nothing except barbecue recipes in there and a few side dishes. It's really to teach new people how to cook barbecue. Now, someone told me recently that a lot of people are liking it. We're getting great reviews on the book. but someone told me that they thought it was a little bit too advanced for the actual hardcore bottom of the barrel beginner. Oh, what can I do? If it is, it is. I'm sorry. It's hard to. It's something I've been doing for so long and so many years. It's hard to go back to the bottom. But I think I did, and that was the intention of the book. And it's been really well received because of that. Because I think it's true. I think a lot of people are just intimidated by the way we approach it.
All right. So out of all of the pages that are in there, you got a lot of great pictures, a lot of great recipes. Are there a couple, one or two, that are in the book that you really like?
Well, I think, and something I've noticed with myself, this is my sixth cookbook. I've gotten much better at making sauces and rubs, I think. I think the ones in the beginning were pretty good, but I think I've gotten much better at it. So I think the rubs, number 67 and 68, are both very good and very interesting. And the sauces as well. There's a orange chipotle sauce in there that I think is great. Something a little different. One of the other things was, after brisket, pork, ribs, and chicken, now you have to actually fill up a cookbook. And I wanted to make some interesting things. There's a great duck recipe that uses that orange chipotle sauce. And then there's some simpler recipes like Scotch eggs and pork steaks and things like that cook a little quicker. Stuffed mushrooms cooked on the smoker and fajitas cooked on the smoker. And some of that stuff came out pretty good, and I think it's going to be good for people that are just kind of dipping their toe in the water. They can't quite grasp the concept of cooking something for 12 hours, so a 45-minute or 2-hour cook is makes more sense to them.
Dr. Barbecue Ray Lampe joining us here on the show. His website, by the way, drbbq.com, if you want to check him out. You've mentioned you've written 6 books now. The first one was kind of a one-off on its own. It was a book that was already in your head. And then we've talked in the past about how you've actually had to go through and work a book from beginning to end for the subsequent 5. Out of those, do you have a favorite one? Are they own their own kind of sexy child or what?
Yeah, they're like children, you like them all. The first one was cool because, like you said, it really was recipes and stories and stuff that I had just saved up my whole life and got a chance to write them down. So that was kind of cool. The second and third one, I was really cutting my teeth and kind of learning how to write a cookbook. I don't know that those are the best ones. The NFL book is one that I think didn't get the respect it deserves. I think it's a really good book, and it just never got the promotion that needed in the beginning. And then the economy just kind of tanked the cookbook business, and it just never got a fair chance. If there's one that I think didn't get the respect it deserves, it's that one. And plus, for me, it was fun because I was able to write a chapter on cooking soup, which is something I really like to do, and most people don't know that, and sandwiches and side dishes and a lot of stuff that wasn't necessarily barbecue.
All right, so let me ask you this, Ray. The book has been out for a little while. Was it a couple weeks now?
Actually, I think it's about a little over a month. I think it came out early April.
All right. As far as the publisher is concerned, everybody's good there. Has it gone to second printing or whatever they call it?
I heard third printing the other day, which
wow.
is pretty amazing for how long it's been out.
Absolutely. So, and I've had a string. I've had, the You this week. I had Ted Reeder, who was out with a new book. It'll be 2 weeks ago today. And then the week before that, I had Robert Rainford on, whose book was a week, before he actually showed up on my show. All were in second printing. Yours is now in third. Do you foresee a point where, this kind of a book might not be as in demand? Is it something that's it's cyclical and you just see it popular because it's a little bit more on television now? Or is this something that you just see gaining popularity down the road?
Well, my publisher, you see that book in your hand, it's a smaller, really good-looking book. And that's intentional. They think that the big blocky Steve Raiklen books, these big mega books, are probably not the best thing to be putting out right now. This book's 8x8, 175 pages or something like that. It not only does it do well on Amazon and the traditional bookstore places, it's big enough for that, but it's small enough to really get a good spot at Williams-Sonoma and Crate and Barrel and places like that. And they seem to think that it has life as a sort of a impulse buy and a gift book as well, and because it's so pretty too. The picture on the cover, look at that, and they actually reshot that. There's a brisket shot inside that I told them I didn't really think looked that good, and there was there's a contest guy, gosh, I can't think of his name right now, that works for Chronicle, and he cooked that brisket, and I talked to him and said, make sure you puff up the smoke ring, and they reshot it, and they liked the shot so much they put it on the cover. So we're taking a different approach and trying to make interesting books, not just write the same book over and over, and a good-looking book like that. So in that case, I think it has life. Obviously, this book has got more sales electronically than any book I've ever written as well. That's the world we live in. Honestly, Greg, they still write Chinese cookbooks and they still write Italian cookbooks, and God, how many is there out there? So I don't know. I think as long as there's good books, people are still going to be interested in them.
To put in your request for a future show, please contact Jon Solberg via email at jon@thebbqcentralshow.com.
There you go. Ray Lampe joining us here on the show. All right, let me get your thoughts, because you did mention Guy Fieri, and he was kind of like a hot topic on here probably for the next couple weeks. We were talking about the BBQ Hall of Fame with Ed Marin last week, and how it went from this kind of stagnant, worse than mediocre presence online for a number of years. And American Royal steps up, buys it. Did you own like BBQHallOfFame.com or something like that, Ray?
Yeah, I still do. I own BBQ Hall of Fame, and I own American BBQ Hall of Fame, and a couple other. You can't buy them all. There's just so many. But I thought BBQ Hall of Fame was probably the key one, and I bought it a long time ago, and I still own it. I don't know. It's pointed at that website, and I don't have any intention of moving it. Frankly, at some point, if they go in the right direction, I'll give it to them. It's not like I want to sell it or anything. I just happened to buy it one day. You ever go on GoDaddy and just kind of poking around, see what's available, and I happened to run across it, and I bought it. Really, and I never intended to. It'll never be for sale. If somebody gets a legit BBQ Hall of Fame going, I'll give it to them. I'd be happy to. So at this point, I don't know if the American Royal even knows, but I own it, and it's pointed at I don't know, is there even a website up these days for it? I'm not really even sure what's there.
I just remember seeing it, maybe a year or so ago, and it had always kind of looked the same year after year. But it looks like the American Royal is actually going to step up and obviously do brick and mortar type of a Hall of Fame, which is more traditional, like some of the other major sports that are out there, basketball, baseball, whatever. So with the new induction class, and I don't know how they're actually going to go about ushering in these people, but there's 3 categories for now, and whether that changes down the road or not, which I think it should, is yet to be seen. You have a business category or an invention category, you have a pitmaster category, and then you have a celebrity category. So you have Henry Ford going in, obviously, well known for helping Kingsford and the whole proliferation of charcoal and all that good stuff. So no questions there for sure. Johnny Trigg, certainly beyond reproach as far as career, what he's done, number of victories. So I don't have a problem with pitmaster Johnny Trigg. I can't imagine you would have an issue with Johnny Trigg getting into the Hall of Fame, right?
No, heck no. Johnny, I think it's a great choice. No, I'm fine with Johnny for sure.
All right, so here's the weird aspect for me, and I know this could potentially put you in this weird situation because you kind of know Guy, and it's nothing against him. If it was some other celebrity, I would probably be saying the same thing. I don't understand why they would have a celebrity category per se. I mean, who is defining celebrity? I mean, we can certainly sit here and say that if, you, Ray Lampe, and me, Greg Rempe, were walking down the street with Guy, 10 out of 10 people are going to recognize Guy, and they're going to wonder who the hell we are standing next to him. Now, we might get some cast-off poon, which would be great. However, that doesn't change the fact that nobody knows who the hell we are, and they know who Guy Fieri is. So celebrity in that sense is fine. I'm totally okay with that. But in my view of Hall of Fame, it's what has somebody done to go above and beyond the industry or the sport. So I could point out somebody like you or Myron or Fast Eddie or any number of other people before I could even get to Guy as celebrity in the industry. So what's your what's your take on that as far as the celebrity category, not necessarily dealing with Guy per se?
Well, yeah, it's a tough situation. I get it. I understand what they're doing. I think Guy's actually a good choice. If you're going to have that category, let's not forget, Guy cooked at the American Royal before he was on the Food Network. He went to that class in Houston that James and Lola Rice gave all those 10 years ago, probably, and just went on his own because he was a restaurateur with a barbecue restaurant wanting to learn more about barbecue. It's one of them cases where he gets... we wouldn't even be talking about him if he wasn't so famous.
Right.
Guys, if there's anybody that's deserving in that category, I think Guy is more worthy than people are going to realize or give them respect for. However, it is a goofy category. But if you're the American Royal, you want to try and get him to come. It's not like they picked Bobby Flay though, or somebody like that.
But what's any different? I could make a bigger argument that Bobby Flay has done more for grilling and barbecue than Guy Fieri ever has.
But you said grilling and barbecuing. Are we talking about barbecuing, or are we talking about grilling and barbecuing? I
don't think that the American Royal has any idea. I think they just want to put a celebrity face in there so they can get more people to come in. And whether it's Guy this year and whether it's Bobby the year after that, I think that's always going to be a weird category. Because there's tens of thousands of people that do exactly what you said, but they also just don't happen to be on the Food Network and host game shows. They go to and cook the American Royal every year. They go take classes, but you never hear about them.
Well, but that's the good news of creating a celebrity category. I mean, we could argue whether that's a wise choice, but at least they didn't take Guy and say he's a pit master or something like that. They said, the celebrity category. It's a business for them. I don't know. I'm not going to beat them up over it. As long as they're keeping it in a celebrity category. Again, if they put Guy in over Johnny or Eddie or me or Myron or all that in the pitmaster category, I might have a beef with it. But the guy is a legit barbecue cook. He owns a barbecue restaurant. He owns a big barbecue trailer pit. He's a legitimate barbecue guy. He sells barbecue sauce and rub, and it's not that he's necessarily as accomplished as a lot of guys, but it's not like they just took some celebrity. They did take a guy who does have a barbecue background. Like it or not, he was a barbecue guy before he was famous. But at what level? Certainly not at the level of Johnny Trigg. There's a great old story, though, about him teaching Johnny how to do a sushi roll at the American Royal before he was ever on the American Royal. I mean, before he was on the Food Network. So, is it a ploy to get attention? Probably. But what the heck?
Yeah, I think it's a bad category. And if you were, I know you're not calling me out on it, Ray, but you're damn right. It's sour grapes for me. I'm totally an internet celebrity. Forget about it.
And there you have it. From May 29th, 2012, the good doctor of barbecue always brings something good to the game. I love the Chicago swagger that guy has on top of all that. Always learn something from Ray Lampe every single time. Hey, do me a favor if you have not done so already. Please make sure you rate and review this show in your podcast catcher. Also appreciate any comments on the main website, or you can reach me via email at Jon, and that is Jon, at thebbqcentralshow.com. Thanks so much for checking it out. Until next time, I am your host, Jon Solberg. I look forward to talking to you again soon.